Hi, my name is Melanie Weller, and I am a physical therapist, and I work not only with the physical body, but with energy and with how archetype and symbolism affect the body. And that's specifically what I want to talk with you about today, is how logos from different companies can affect our bodies in terms of marketing and in terms of health, and how they might even be able to drive health issues within the company for better and for worse. Now I'm going to share my screen with you here. And if you want to find me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, my handle is Embody Your Star, and my website is melanieweller.com. I'm getting ready to, in the process of redoing it, so there'll be a very new and very different website up very soon. I'm working more with entertainers and voice, and certainly the voice within the body and their physical voices as well, because my clinical expertise is in treating the vagus nerve, which innervates your vocal cords, among many, many other things, as a pinched nerve. And you can also email me at ask@melanieweller.com. So how does your logo influence the bodies of your customers, or how do other people's logos influence your body? And so, logos, which was a term from Carl Jung, is the principle of logic and structure traditionally associated with spirit, the father world, and the God image. So even just the word logo, and us calling logos, is very powerful in and of itself, because we're giving it the God image. And so my logo is over here on the left, and it's a little piece out of the Vesica Pisces. It also looks like an M and like the doors to a temple, which was the primary intention of it with my graphic designer. The Vesica Pisces is part of that sacred geometry is really interestingly coded into the story of the loaves and fishes in the Bible. And certainly the symbol of the fish comes from the Vesica Pisces, and in astrology, Pisces rules the feet. And I help a lot of people with their path and purpose, and get lined up with their path and purpose. So that was not planned when I had the logo design, but I think that that's a really interesting aspect of it. And I'm working on coming up with a new logo too, as I've been delving into all of this symbolism here. And so just to give you an idea about how anatomy and archetype relate, so on the left is the symbol for the astrological sign Aries. And on the right here is an image. It's a compilation of MRI images to give you a 3D picture of what the ventricles of your brain look like. And the ventricles of your brain make cerebral spinal fluid. And so you can see that they look very much like the ram's horns for Aries. And so each astrology sign goes with a part of the body, and there are other myths outside of astrology that go with different parts of the body. And so myths, among many things, were ancient medical journals. And this ends up just being so significant because in astrology, which used to be medicine, Aries rules the head. And so the symbol for Taurus looks very much like the way your hyoid bone in your throat sits on top of your larynx. And in astrology, Taurus rules the throat. Now, this is my own theory. This is the archetype of the voice, or really the channel for your voice. And so your sphenoid bone here sits in your head. It sits behind your forehead, and the wingtips here come up into your temples, and your jaw muscles attach to the feet here. And I'll turn the video on for just a second so you guys can see. So the jaw muscles that attach to the feet of your sphenoid bone, which looks very much like an owl in this rendition, move your mouth up and down and side to side. So the channel for your voice, the archetype of that is a circle with a cross in it. And this is both the alchemical and astronomical symbol for Earth. In astrology, it's the point of fortune. It's also the medicine wheel. It's, if you turn it to look more like an X, in the runes, the X is Gibo, which is gift. And certainly we wear cross mythology very heavily in our world, and we can think about how religion has both helped a lot of people align themselves and has both also really squashed people's voices and taken their voices as well. And that shows up in our language because we're at a crossroads and we're crucified on the cross, and it's our cross to bear. And so we use metaphors that also are very heavy around the cross. And here is the symbol for Leo, and your aortic arch looks very much like the symbol for Leo, and in astrology, Leo rules the heart. So anyway, this works the whole way through the body. I'm not going to go through all of it today, but what I am going to do is go through some very popular logos of major companies. And I don't know that all of this is done consciously. I think we do a lot of things unconsciously, and that the only real rule is as above, so below. So whatever's happening within us or whatever we want, we tend to create an expression of that on the outside. We all have a physical expression of our internal narrative and an internal expression of our physical narrative. And so I don't, again, I don't know how mindfully these logos were designed in terms of trying to take people's voices or influence people's voices or their actions, but they do, because it all lives within us subconsciously if we're not conscious of it in the first place. So this is the logo, obviously, for FedEx, and I put it vertically just because it lines a little up with the body better that way. So, and you can interpret this two different ways. So because the channel for your voice is also your mouth, and that you feed yourself through your mouth, that the FedEx is kind of describes that channel for the voice, that, through where we're fed, there's that X, and FedEx has done a great job of becoming a very well-known company and we use it as a verb too, that, I'll just FedEx that to you. But the arrow is also the archetype of the spine, because your sacrum, and this is a side view, so it doesn't show it quite as well, but your sacrum is triangular in shape. And so the arrow also goes with the second chakra and really creating, which is where we create from, whether we're making love, babies, business, art, or whatever. It all is second chakra energy. And so but because you're putting the arrow, that sacrum, up with the FedEx, that might not align well within the company. And you would certainly expect a company like FedEx to have a high number of back injuries just because there's a lot of physical movement and things like that. But because the logos typically goes left to right, and I know that they're doing that for the direction and the movement and the way that they want things to go, but it might not live in the bodies of their employees that way, and it may show up as an unusually high incidence of back issues. And it also may, I could see sort of having your second chakra in the channel for your voice being really helpful, because your second and fifth chakras your fifth chakra is where your voice is, are directly linked, that they're creation and creative expression. And so this can show up in positive and negative ways. The other way that I can interpret the fed part of it is if you think back to the sphenoid bone and the word federal, and how federal means government, and we have an eagle, certainly in the U.S. is and in Germany are logos for our governments. That federal really gives this kind of power over the voice, and that the logos are really kind of in that kind of aligning with both your sphenoid bone and the channel for your voice as well. And that gives it a lot of power. But again, with it going sideways, that could have it show up maybe as headache issues or not being grounded, like, as well, I could see. And so there's just different ways that I don't have the data to look at it to show up. This is all just theory, but it's your logo. Like, these symbols literally live in our bodies. And if you want to know really like one of the most interesting ways to go back and check out the last video I did on kidneys and social injustice in the body. So here's the Starbucks logo. And so again, Starbucks has leveraged the circle aspect, the shape of the channel for the voice, and they've put a goddess in it. And so this, in astrology, Virgo rules the digestive system, and it would make a lot of sense for a business that really wants you to consume their food and beverage products to put the goddess in the voice channel to really influence that. I can see that also negatively showing up as reflux disease. And I don't know off the top of my head as I'm saying this, the incidence of reflux disease from when Starbucks opened initially to now, but I would say that it's definitely more than what it was a long time ago. So because she's a mermaid, it could also be related to the feet, in that you want people to walk, to walk and talk Starbucks, and that because Pisces rules the feet, and so the fins, the mermaid aspect of her goes with the feet, and she has a very sphenoid kind of looking crown on her head as well. So they've captured that. I want you to bring your wisdom and your awareness to them as well. McDonald's logo is particularly interesting because I don't think that it's part of the human body. To me, this is the archetype of the hoof of a sheep. And so certainly McDonald's really has done a good job of affecting the masses, and that people flock towards them, and that they have in many ways pulled the wool over our eyes about what real food is, because they certainly use a lot of additives and preservatives in their product as well. They're all in their products as well. And so to me, McDonald's is really, their logo is really telling us that they're trying to get us to be sheeple and not people. And so, and it has worked really quite well for that. I mean, it's certainly the number of store fronts that they have show that is a strategy that's actually worked, but that maybe it's certainly not making us healthier. I love the media symbols in the body because they kind of complete each other. And so where NBC is kind of like your sphenoid bone, that owl, and the wisdom. And I'll just throw in here the sphenoid bone because it looks like an owl. Also follows the myth of Athena. Athena was born of Zeus's head, and her symbol was the owl. So it's the warrior, and it's the wisdom, and all the things that go with that NBC is trying to capture. ABC has the circle in your voice, and certainly their letters going in alphabetical order. That's something that naturally comes out of our voice. We all know our ABCs in the United States with our, and other countries with Roman letters, I'm sure have their own variation of that. And the CBS logo is very much like a third eye to me, or it could also be the channel for your voice, and that they're trying to get you to see, to share the way that they see things as well. CNN, to me, really looks like a strand of DNA, though I think that RNA is more appropriate to put with CNN because RNA has a specific type called messenger RNA, and I think that to me just archetypally matches the function of the media. And so having having your logo really look like DNA or RNA really tries to embed the message very deep inside your body. Mercedes-Benz has a really cool story about how the star, the three-pointed star logo came to be. The original founder of the company sent a postcard to his wife that had a three-pointed star over the part of the city where their house was, and to say that may the star bless our company and allow it to grow. And they've certainly, even though they've been taken over several different times, they've certainly grown and become a real luxury brand. And so they've got the circle that's the archetype of the voice. And to really harness the power of three here, because Earth being the third planet from the sun also relates to how many trinities, or how common trinities are here on Earth in religion and just and in our language, that we have mind, body, spirit, thought, word, and deed. In Christianity, there's Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. So we have lots and lots of trinities here on Earth. And so being able to really capture both the stars and really bring that down to Earth and have it manifest, I think there's a lot of power in this symbol. And older renditions of it even had more like had this logo, but also had like an Olympic kind of a wreath around it as well. And certainly capitalizing upon that, the championship voice is another way that I think they have been able to leverage their logo for success, and why we all really revere it, because it's like owning a Mercedes-Benz for many people is like owning a gold medal, like an Olympic medal. The Bull of Wall Street is particularly interesting to me, even though it's a statue and not particularly a logo. So we talked earlier about the bull being related to the voice, and the myth of the Egyptian myth of the Apis Osiris bull is the Apis Osiris bull was the physical embodiment of the god Osiris, and certainly Wall Street tries to exert godlike power and be our god and act like God in many, many ways. And lastly, this is the symbol of the Nazis. And you can see that you've got the eagle, like the sphenoid bone, holding the circle with the swastika in it. And when you really think about how many voices the Nazis tragically took over and shut down, and the amount of power they have, you can really see how that, how symbolism can be very powerful in negative ways too, especially when we're not conscious of it. If you have any questions, please email me at ask@melanieweller.com. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Embody Your Star. And please follow me here on YouTube as well. And visit my website at melanieweller.com, and stay tuned for the new one coming soon. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.